Hey everybody, so beautiful day out today. It's gonna be in the mid-70s and sunny, and I got the day off. So we're gonna whip open the garage doors, enjoy the sunshine, and weld some more metal together. So let's take a look at what we got.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Okay, so here's where we left off last video, and I'm liking it much more than I was with that grill on there. So the picture in my head is simmering and starting to come together. So anyway, the next thing we're gonna do is I don't know if we really call it a roll pan, but I'm gonna go from the bottom up. So we need to come down to here. We got this nice curve up here. We need a panel that curves up all the way across to there. And then once we have that, we'll make the panel that goes in the middle, which should be pretty much just a straight piece of metal. But like I talked about in the last few videos, we're gonna make it out of this roof. And so I've measured, I need 65 inches across there. I am gonna take the end of this one, end of this side, the end of this side. I think those are 40 something inches. We're gonna go ahead and make us one piece, weld them together, and get all the old paint off them. There's quite a bit of bracing in the back. We're gonna have to be cutting and notching to get it to fit in there right. And we are gonna get that piece tacked in, and maybe if we got time, on this, we're also going to get the piece above that tacked in. So I think we're rolling pretty good. I appreciate the all the views on the last video. I had a lot of people take a look at it. So just want to say up front, make sure if you're not subscribed that you do subscribe, and leave a comment, and hit the like button, and you know, pass this on to your friends, and tell them about the channel. So okay, so let's cut that thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the ends off that thing, get it cleaned up, weld it into the one piece I need, and then we'll come back and take a look at how we're gonna make it fit and what it's gonna look like. Okay, so I got this piece cut apart and got all the bracing cut off the back on this one. And I'll tell you what, that's a lot of cutting. There's a lot of box bracing on the back of this, and then there's bracing inside that. So I was gonna weld them both together and then try to fit it on there, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think we're gonna fit the one piece up, and then I'll have about 20 inches left I need. We'll take a piece off of that. So let's take a look at this thing. So it's got a nice curve, but it's not quite enough. Set that there. You can see that. All right, so I want to be lined up at this bottom edge good, and it's got a pretty good roll coming from here to there, which is not near as sharp as what this is, or this is not near as rolled as what that is. But if I can get that, and I'm gonna have to space it down a little bit, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. If I get that down around there, I'll tell you what, it's not a whole lot difference. So I think we're gonna be able to make that work. I need to bend it a little bit, just a little. So let's go over here a minute. We're gonna see if this is gonna work. Need to bend it up near the top. I need something round to do it with. So, got a drive shaft. Whew. Careful, get some sharp edges on that thing. It's just about long enough on the fat part. I think if we clamp this down, we can just kind of pull back on that and make that work. Let me get a couple clamps, clamp this up, and we'll give it a shot. All right, this is going to kind of be the definition of hokey because I don't have really good clamps to be able to do this. I got a welding clamp and a furniture clamp. Let's see if we can. And the stupid thing wants to roll out of there when you clamp it, so see if I can clamp it and hold it and bend it all at the same time. Doesn't need much. Hope everybody had an awesome Easter. Stay, dude. Oh yeah. I think that did something productive. And I'll do it this way too. Actually works better that way. Ooh, don't want to dent it though. Should have done it this way to begin with. Oh yeah. All right, let's take a look. Oh yeah. It's almost a little too much, but that's all right. We can kind of pull that back out as we work it. And there. Yep, I like that. All right, so let's do I want to do a slice. We'll take a marker and cut along here, and ooh, I need that piece attached to there. I have to weld this on first, tack it on there, then cut it, and then tack it there and over there. So I need to get a measurement of how far down we got to space this thing. I need to cut some of this bracing out of here. And I need the same space over here, so I'm just gonna have to tack something in there. I'm gonna have to be getting up under the bottom of this thing and doing some welding on the inside once it's all done too. So, all right. I'm gonna trim this back a little bit and do some measuring. I'm gonna have to put some kind of something over here that's the same depth as this to hold that straight, to hold this straight across there. And we'll we'll get this thing in place. I think I need to trim some of this brace out of here too, maybe. No, I don't. But yeah, I like it. Okay, back in just a few. Okay, this is good. I like the way that's fitting. So we're gonna go ahead and tack this piece in there, and I'm gonna put, it's kind of hard to push over here, so I'm gonna have to take a measurement over here, and we'll put something behind this, just kind of pull this in to where we can straighten that out. But yeah, I like it. And then we're gonna measure another piece and get that other piece along the bottom. And I think we're gonna do good today on getting that filler piece in the middle too. I don't know if we'll get to the girl today, but yeah, we're rolling along. I think this is looking good. Okay, let's get this tacked in, and we'll be back in a few. Okay, so that's looking pretty good, and it's measuring out good. So what I ended up doing was, I was trying to figure out how to space this top edge out. Junk out of the way. I had a piece of this 3/4 inch square tubing left, so I put half of it on to where it's just like the bottom half of the edge is hanging on here, and then tacked it in the back, and then that gave me a nice something straight and flush to butt this to. And we'll finish that over here. We'll continue this piece over to there. We'll get that done, and then we'll when I bring this piece down to butt against that, I can grind these welds off and probably get that piece right down the center of that, and have, you know, something a little bit of backing to put that up to be able to support that when I weld it. So I think it's working pretty good. So all right, I guess I'll clean up, take a measurement. We'll clean up another piece of this, and we'll get it tacked onto there, and we'll see what we got. All right, so I think that looks pretty good, and seems to fit nice. It's straight. Cut and butted the ends on it, kind of rounded the edge of that, what used to be the rain gutter under there a little bit, and I think it looks really good. Might have to go back just a touch in the middle, in the bottom, and then, you know, because the bottom's a little floppy. So I gotta weld something behind there to kind of hold that. But we'll get to that. So now it's looking good. I like it. So I think now is the time to go in and put a grill in this thing. I initially thought, well, I'll just fill all that in and then I'll cut the grill around it, but it doesn't make sense to fill all that in and then cut it back out. To me, it's just kind of a waste of metal. So let's get, I know what I'm gonna do with this grill. Let's go ahead and get it remade. We're just gonna cut it down, lengthen it, and shorten it. We'll get it in there, and then we will sheet metal around it. And then I was looking for some parking lights, and bought a set of used square body front parking lights, because they're kind of rectangle shape off of eBay. So when they get here, I think we're going to end up putting those kind of right in here somewhere, or we may even work a way to mount them into the grill too. So okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and take this grill back apart. We're going to cut it down, tack it together the way I think it should be, and take a look at it and see what we got. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be half that width. So we're going to slice here and here. We'll have the rounded corners. Basically this bar here will be the whole width of the whole height of the grill. And then I'm gonna go from the center of this headlight to the center of that headlight and lengthen it that much. So, all right, let's cut this thing apart and clean up here a little bit first, and then we'll throw this thing together and see what she looks like. Okay, that is way better. So I lengthened that thing 21 inches and cut the height in half. So I like that. Got to get the expanded metal behind it. Got to make some brackets because it's just kind of sitting there right now. It's going to actually be out a little bit more. But yeah, I dig that. And then we'll just sheet metal around both sides, and there'll probably be a strip down the top of it, I guess. But yeah, I think it looks good. Okay, so that's gonna be it for today, I think. I'm gonna clean up out here and go hang out with my wife for a while, and we'll pick this back up tomorrow after work. I need to stop by Harbor Freight and get some more flapper discs, and we will figure out how we're gonna mount this, and get our expanded metal in there, and then we'll fill in these sides here. And I'm kind of thinking the parking lights are going to go on the sides and not in the grill, but that remains to be seen. That's a way off. So, okay, we'll pick this back up tomorrow. Okay, so this is what I made the grill out of last time, that expanded metal, and I thought, yeah, I'd do something a little bit different this time. I didn't have enough to do the whole thing anyway, so I found this stuff over at Menards, 16 gauge, and I kind of like the looks of that. So here's what I did. And I think that is looking pretty good and much better than what it was before. So I've got that tacked in place, and I think it is going to stay right there. It's pretty much where I want it. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to fill in the sheet metal around that. I think what I'm gonna have to, so we're gonna do run a strip from here down to here, and we'll cut and butt this edge. And I think I might bend up some thin sheets of strip metal to put an angle there, so this thing has got something to lay back and weld against. Excuse me, and to keep it straight. So I think the first thing we'll do is go ahead and let's do the top of this thing side to side and get it filled in. And then once we've got that filled in, we'll make the end pieces and get those in. And looks like everything is winding up good. So, and yep. All right, so that's where we are. Let me bend up some strips, and we'll figure out where we want to put them in there, and then we'll get a finished strip put in there. Okay, back in just a few. Okay, so we're going to make this top piece to go across here, and but I did get these in the mail. Now these are square body showing parking lights, and I'm thinking I'm gonna kind of go right in there, or they could go up here. Down, up, in there. Yeah, I don't know if I like that as much. What do you think? Drop your comment below. You like them down? You like them up? Or you like them in the grill? I don't think I like them in the grill, but if you say you like them in the grill, you're free to say it. I don't want to block off my airspace. I think there. But hey, I'm willing to listen to suggestions. Okay, so I'm gonna cut a strip. Actually, it's gonna have to be 2 strips because my brake is only 30 inches. So we'll probably do a piece from here to here and a piece from there to there. And I think I'm just gonna bend a 90 on the bottom of it to kind of give it some rigidity. And then we'll tack it down here and we'll cut and butt it there is what I think is gonna happen. So let me get some pieces cut. We'll take a measurement from here to here. We'll get that piece cut. We'll get that one in and do the other side and see what it comes out like looking. So, all right, back in just a segment. Cardinals won 2 games in a row. So we're on a roll. All right, so there's one piece cut and butt in there. And if you can see, I just bent a little angle on the back of that. Tacked it on the bottom, sliced it, and tacked it together. So it's gonna be, we're gonna fully weld that along the bottom, fully weld that there. And it's gonna be some tight grinding in there, that's for sure, but we'll get it, not a big deal. All right, so let's make another piece. And let's do this other side and see what that looks like. All right, so I got that other piece on there. I had to go down and pick me up another grinder. That thing died on me. So, okay, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make up these end pieces, and I'm just gonna cut a square of cardboard and kind of trim it up to that and figure out how we're going to put it in there. I need to, so like I bent an edge on that just to kind of give it some stability. I don't think I can do that there because I've got this round edge here and this round edge here. So I don't know if I'll just end up straight butt welding that to that, or I might just take a little piece and do that, but actually put it behind this bigger piece, you know, just to stabilize that edge there. Because here I'll trim that bottom edge off. I'll have this back lip to back that, and then I've got the square tubing here to hold the back of that, and then this is in, so that'll hold that. So we'll just have to go flush there. That's not a big deal. I'll tell you what, let's get this piece cut out of some cardboard first and get that cut out of some metal, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do with it here. Okay, so I've got that piece just kind of tacked in place and did a few preliminary cuts, you know, to line the edges up, and of course I had to goof one cut up. I meant to cut this like a 1/2 inch lower, so I'm just gonna have to try to do the best I can to tack that in there, and I'm gonna have to put some kind of filler in there because I'm not gonna recut it. And I think this is short enough. I'm just gonna go ahead and tack it along there to that. I'm not gonna worry about putting anything behind there. But let me go ahead and get this tacked in here, and then really all I gotta do is figure out where to make my cut in here to cut this down, and then we'll just fold that over a little bit and get that into place. But I think it's looking pretty good, and yeah, I'm pretty convinced on the parking lights now that I see that piece on there. And I'm thinking like right in here somewhere, maybe even center, I don't know. Let me get this rounded edge out of the way here, and then I can tell a little bit more. All right, let's get this piece finished up here, and we'll take a look. All right, I think it looks pretty good. We got her cut and butt in there pretty good. I just used some of these little metal strips that I had trimmed off as a filler strip on that bottom, and that will fill up and grind out fine. I don't think there'll be any problems there. And then this will probably go, let's say about, well, I thought that would stick on there. oiled or something on there. Just dust. Hang on just a second. Well, that ain't gonna stick, but somewhere in there, and it'll be recessed, so it won't be sticking out. So, all right, so that's gonna be it for out here tonight. Busy the next couple days. We'll get back out here Sunday, and we will finish that side, and maybe we'll get these parking lights recessed in there, and then I think that is gonna be pretty much be it for the front end. I mean, I've still got to make a bumper for it, and I've got to do all the welding and grinding, but design wise, I think we're good. I'm really happy with it. I think it's gonna look pretty decent. All right, so let's pick this back up in a couple of days, and we'll get that side finished up. We'll get these lights in here, and we'll get a good look at what the face is gonna look like. All right, so I got off work a little bit early and went ahead and put this other piece of metal on this side, and she's got a face. So, or he's got a face. It looks more masculine than feminine. So it almost looks like some kind of weird robot, don't it? But yeah, I'm digging it. So I've got a few hours in the morning that I can spare. So I think tomorrow we're gonna get out here early, and I am going to work on putting these, making surrounds for these parking lights and getting those in there. And then once we get those in there, we'll kind of show while we do that, how we're going to do that. And once they are in there, then I think that'll probably be it for this video. And we move on to the next step, which is going to be, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to start working front to back. And I'm going to get everything from this door edge all the way forward, welded up, ground down, all the old bits of paint off of there. And that is going to be a chore, but that's what we're gonna do. And then start working my way back. Once we're done with that, I think we'll go to the doors and build the inner structure of those, and still planning on suiciding those. And I'm gonna get the old windshield out, but we're just, from this point on, once I get them lights in, we're just going to go front to back, finishing and finalizing everything up. So several months of work doing that, but we're going to keep going. I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. So okay, one more clip tomorrow. We'll get back out here. We'll get these parking light, get some cans made for those, get those in, and we'll see what the final product looks like. All right, morning everybody. So we are looking at making surrounds for these today, and we're gonna, I don't know if you really call it Frenching it or recessing it. I want to set them back in the sheet metal a little bit, and so I need to make a surround that's going to go around that, just like a can that's going to fit in there. You know, on some like if you go to Speedway or something and you buy different street rod taillights, you can you get pre-made cans to fit those lights. So we're gonna make our own here. So basically I measured all the way around this thing, and then I measured how far I want to set it back by putting the back of the light on here, and I came up with 2 inches and like 25 inches all the way around. So what I did is I cut a 2x25 strip, and we're gonna bend this to fit kind of loosely around this. We want a little bit extra. And so what I did is I took this old piece of steering shaft, and it's got a nice radius around it. And we're gonna clamp this dude onto here. If I can find a pair of bigger vice grips somewhere. That first bend I just kind of hand bent. It's like, yeah, it doesn't look as nice as what I want it to. But we just kind of fooeyed it into shape. So I'm going to set this right on the center of that line I marked. So we can clamp this down. Get it straight. Okay. Yeah, it should work. We're just going to pin that dude up. Use my hammer a little bit. Just kind of tighten that up. And that looks like it might have been in the wrong place. We're going to see. Yeah. I mean, it's got some gap around it, but you want some gap around it because you want, I don't want this to get stuck in there. So I'm fine with that. I got about 1/4 inch on each side. I don't know, that's a little much. Let me see if I can clamp this down here and just take a hammer and reduce this bend a little bit. The nice thing is this whole can is going to be back behind that back behind the front sheet metal, so you're not, if it gets a little dinged up, you're not going to see it. Been any Cardinal fans watching, but we're looking better the last few days. And we didn't win the day before yesterday, but we won yesterday and we won last night. Pitching is starting to look pretty good. So hopefully we'll stay that way. Let me see if I can clamp this other side. Pretty happy with the way this front end came out. I really like the looks of it. And as far as this, I've never done this either. We're just kind of figuring it out as we go. Whoops. Keep it straight. Stay straight, baby. Okay. Let's see if we can shrink this up a little bit. Better. Good 90 on that. Let's see where we're at here. Oh yeah, that's much better. In fact, speaking of Cardinals, I get to go to the game today, so I'm pretty happy about that. Me and my wife and my daughter and her husband and kids are going. In-laws are going. Okay, that's good. Now, I'm going to center that in here. I'm going to mark, so I marked the center of that curve before, and that didn't bend exactly where I wanted it to. So let's go about right, a little less than center. Tonight, get to go out and play a little music with my brother-in-law. played in classic rock bands together for many years. So it's me and him and another good friend of ours playing guitar. Go out and do a little 2-hour gig, you know. Not about on doing the 4-hour gigs anymore because it's man, it's just too late. It's past my bedtime. We're gonna go out and do a couple hours at a local club, have some fun. I've been working on getting my bass guitar and singing chops back up a little bit. That shaft makes a nice radius. Let's see if that worked. If you want to listen to some old band stuff, go way back on the channel, and I've got a lot of old band stuff on there. Yeah, that's good. So that's exactly where I need to lay it when I do that. Okay. So let's lay this in here. I gotta make 2 of these. We'll just show one, and then we'll go back and show the finished product when we're done. Here, and I'll add it here. So I kind of want to lay that, if I look straight down, I want that mark on the leading edge of that, leading edge of that piece of stock, or shaft, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, that's on there. Put some gloves on before I slice my hand open. Very close. Oh, tight over here. Yeah. Alright, I think I'm gonna have to kind of do bent this one a little bit tight and see if we can add a little bit to that. I'm gonna do that. That on the leading edge, I need to go a little further in, so I need to get that probably on the center. because once this is in there, you're not going to see any of that. Gauging off my edge here if I'm in the right place or not. All right, let's try that. Just a little better. Okay. Pretty close. So that's better. Got a nice, pretty even gap all the way around. So I think what I want to do is, what do I want to do here? I want to clamp this and then cut and butt it. Or do I want to weld on? Just go ahead and tack on the inside. Kind of tacking on the inside, you get in there and it's going to be hard to get a grinder in there to straighten it out. So probably need to just slice it right down through there. I'm just kind of centering it up, making sure my gap is good all around the lens. And it is. All right, let me clamp that. Where's my... This guy's here. Make sure that's good all the way around, and it is. Put just a little dot in there just to kind of hold that in place. I think I do. So essentially we're going to be cutting the hole, we're going to be sliding this through from the back, so this will be sticking out a little bit, and then we'll dot it in place, and then we'll trim all the way around and then weld it in place. We're going to have to make a little something on the back of here to hold the rest of the lens, or hold the light can itself. Keep it together. like a good uniform shape. Fits in there good, looks straight, gaps look even all the way around the lens. Got just enough in there that I can, should be able to get the lens in and out without too much trouble. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to trim off this extra and then weld that together. So, see if I can go about there. And I'll like cut all the way through it, push it together, do a little tack, and then continue on. Alright, let's see how that works. There's a cutoff wheel. I need a face thing. Use these, I guess. All right, so I went about halfway all the way through, and then the rest of it I just cut the top layer just to keep it where it needs to be. And now what we'll do is we'll reach in here and we'll push this side together so it's flush. Like that. And we'll put tack back there. Together. Now, go the rest of the way through. Now we can push this side together. the hole though. Not really worried about warping that around the corner, so it's got some stability to it. Grind that off. Good, and I think we can get to the inside of that. Got to grind a little bit in there. Can't really reach in there with this. I need to get, I'll take my little angle grinder here in a minute and we'll do that. But, anyway, you can see, I'm looking pretty good. So, now what we need is a piece on the back. Because this is going to have to go, this is going to go here, this is going to go here. So I need to make a plate for the back with a pretty good size hole in the middle. Or I can just make it in two pieces. You know, I don't know if I got anything to drill a hole that big. Well, I probably got a hole saw, can drill a hole that big. Okay, let me go ahead and do some measurements, cut some metal, and we'll make this little plate. We'll mark that off, trim it out, and I'll see if I got a hole saw that size I can cut that out with. And then we're gonna weld that on there, and then this whole thing should just drop in. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do a few things, and we'll be back here in just a second. Okay, so I got that piece made, and here's basically what I did. I just cut a piece of sheet metal out of the sheet over there, traced this around it, cut it out, found the perfect size hole saw for this to go into here, and then so then you got a couple of holes in here that I had to drill these out because I need the screws for the lens to pass through those. But you also got a couple of holes here in the body, so I'm going to use these to mount this to there. And then when I put the lens on it, that'll pass through there. Those screws will go through those holes, and we're going to weld this dude on there. So that's kind of what you end up with. So let's, I want to go ahead and weld this one together, get this one all done, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop I'll go ahead and stop here, weld this together, and I'm going to go ahead and build another one while I'm at it. Let's get them both built before I put them on the truck. So while I've got this done and in pieces, in fact, I might just go ahead and build the two pieces and weld both of them together at the same time. I really want to make them as consistent as possible. You know, this is just a tiny bit wider on this side than this side. I don't think you're going to see that on the truck, but you know, I don't want them wildly mismatched either. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll stop the camera. We'll build another one. We'll weld them both together, and then I'll start it back up, and we'll see how we're going to put them in there, and then we'll take a look at the final product. So, okay, we will be back shortly. You know, it's times like these I wish I had a plasma cutter. I had one years ago, hardly ever used it. You get in the habit of using the same tools, and yeah, I use cutoff wheel all the time, so, but every once in a while I'll run into something like this. I kind of wish I had one again, and I may get one, I don't know. You know, the one I had a built-in compressor that just didn't work too well. If I get another one, I'll have one that you use the air hose. But you know, when I started this channel, I thought, if it's successful and I can make a little money off of it and upgrade my tools to keep the content going, make it more interesting, that's what I'll do. I'll tell you, I got to be honest, when I started this channel, it was completely selfish intentions that basically I wanted to put my stuff out there and see if I could do like a lot of the other YouTube car people and get a big following and make some money and buy some more tools and buy some more cars and just kind of keep that going. But I'll tell you what, as it has gone along, the Lord greatly changed my perspective. And I've shared before, I guess about a year ago, I started putting a message at the end of the channel, and that has really become, for me, the most important and the focus point of doing this is getting God's message of salvation out there, and this stuff is kind of secondary. So I'm gonna leave it up to the Lord. You know, I got like 1,200 subscribers now. If He wants it to get bigger, that's fine. If He doesn't, that's fine too. I'm just going to try to be obedient and keep doing what He tells me to do, putting the message out there that He tells me to, and hopefully there are some people out there that this is reaching and helping. And some people have vocally said they like the car stuff, they don't like the message at the end. You know, I just encourage you to watch it anyway. Even if you don't believe or agree with it, you know, just spend a few minutes at the end and watch the message. I would rather you skip the car stuff and watch the message than the other way around. So anyway, that's my 5-minute spiel on the channel. So like, subscribe, make sure you tell your friends, and let's build another one of these, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, there we go. So, not hot. Not 100% perfect, but, you know, I think they look pretty good. Okay, so let's do some measuring, figure out where these things are going to go on here, and do a little bit of cutting. And we'll show sinking one in there, and then we'll just go back and do the other one. But, yeah, so I'm thinking I want to center this thing. I want to get it pretty much center of the grill, and then center of this plate, you know, side to side. So probably in there somewhere. All right, let me get some measurements going, and we'll get some marks going and get this figured out. All right, so what I did is I took that light and kind of just measured some points of where it's going to go, and then I took a piece of cardboard and cut it out exactly the shape of that front, because like I said, there's some irregularities in there. It's not perfect. Then I traced that on here, and I'm sitting there looking at it, I'm like, man, it looks crooked. But the problem is this body line kind of goes down a little bit, so that piece was a little crooked, which once we weld that and grind that, you won't see that. So I just took a piece of metal and I went from the top of this to the crown of that line there, and that looks good. And then I go over here and check it, and it is right on. So it's actually straight. Once we get this fixed and ground down, it's going to look good. So what I'm going to do is take my cutoff wheel and I'm going to cut inside this line, and then we should be able to slide that light in from the back. So let me get that cut and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so let's take a look at where we're at here. So I got the hole cut on both sides. I went ahead and got that one tacked in. And what I did on this thing is I just went through, I measured the thickness of the lens and the light itself, and I come up with 1 3/8, so I marked that line on my can. Actually, I went about 1/4 inch more, so this would sit back just a little bit. And I cut the hole, went through here, and you know, I had to kind of trim it to get it to fit good. I did find out that I'm about 1/8 of an inch lower on this side than I am that side. Maybe between 1/8 and 1/4. So when you do that, you just got to figure out what are you going to do. I was not going to cut all this apart and raise this up a little bit. I didn't really notice it until I started and measured side to side down from my light. So I just had to pick a point that I'm going to make consistent. So I picked the corner of this grill where these two pieces come together, and over there, the top of that light can went right on this. So over here on top of this light can, I just put it right on that line. And like I said, I'm about almost 1/4 of an inch this way more apart, I guess, here than I am over there. But you know, it is what it is. You can try to make it absolutely perfect, but when you're doing this kind of stuff, it's kind of your call. I'm probably the only one who's going to notice it. So, cut this guy, got that fitted there, made my mark. All the way across the can, and I'm going to right over there. So out a little bit over here. Get it squared up. So what I'll do is we'll tack this thing in place. And then I'll go around with the cutoff wheel and cut off the excess and finish it up. So I just want to look at this and make sure that we kind of got the same lean on them. I think we do. I don't want one pointing at the ground and one pointing at the sky. So I got a little bit of lean in on that one. A little bit of lean in on this one. So I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and tack this dude on. right. On the inside over here. All right over here. I think that looks pretty good. Now, you take the light and lens, put it in there. That's what we end up with. I think that looks really good. So, yep. All right, so that's where we're going to end this one. I am going to go ahead and, this is just cutting and welding. Don't need to show that. So what we're going to do from here on is, like I said on the last little clip, I'm going to weld this whole front end up all the way back to this body line, get everything in front, weld, ground, all a little bit of paint off, gaps filled, you know, the whole bit. And I think I was looking what to do between those headlights, and I just happened to pick up a piece of this. And I think if I cut a strip of that and cut it a little bit narrower and just screw that in place, I think that'll look pretty good and kind of complement the grill at the bottom. So we're going to do that between the headlights. And so that is going to be a lot of work, probably a couple of weeks. So I don't know if maybe I'll just put out some short videos showing progress of where we're at. I don't think anybody wants to see a long video of a bunch of welding and grinding. So that's where we're going to end it. We'll go inside, we'll get a word from the Lord, and I appreciate everybody watching along on this one and finally seeing what the face looks like. All right, so we'll check back with you in a minute. Hey everybody, thanks for following along on this video. We got a lot done, and I'm pretty happy to see the face on that thing and see what it's going to look like. Kind of looks like some kind of weird robot or something, but I like the way it came out. So for my first try of doing something that intensive of redesign, like I said, it ain't perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. So I hope you all liked it too, and I know I learned a lot doing it. And so the next thing is like welding and grinding for a while. So we'll figure out how to put some content on that and not make it too boring. Maybe we'll go back and look at some old projects I had over the next couple weeks, just put a little something different out, you know, while I'm doing that portion of it. And hopefully my plates will be here soon, and I can hit some car shows with the 61, and maybe we'll do a little content on that too. But anyway, so the message for today, one thing I've been looking at is walking in the Spirit, and one of the most important things of that is recognizing our own sin in our life and being willing to confess that sin and repent of that sin. So there's a little, the Bible I use is called the Open Bible, and this was a new Open Bible. This was recommended by my pastor many years ago because it's a lot of Bible study material in this also, and it's just been really wonderful for me. So I want to read this little section here, and the part of the Psalm, what we're looking at is Psalm 73, which was written by Asaph, and it's the perspective of eternity is what it's called. And verse 1 says, "Surely God is good to Israel, to those who are pure in heart." Well, let's talk about the being pure in heart part. So it says, walking in the Spirit confession. An important prerequisite to walking in the Spirit is the confession of sin. Sin must be confessed in order to restore fellowship and to continue receiving God's power. Confession means that we agree with God about our sin. This involves much more than simply acknowledging the sin. Confession requires an attitude of sorrow for the sin and a willingness to turn from it. You know, for me, that means I'm not confessing sin because I'm like, uh-oh, I got caught. I'm in trouble. But if I didn't get caught, I wouldn't think twice about it. To me, I have that relationship with the Lord, and as a parent, I know when my kids messed up, and I'm sure my parents knew that, like, when I messed up, it might make you mad, but it hurts you, and you love your kids, and you don't want to see them fail, and it's the same with God when we sin, and likewise, when we fail, we should feel that same remorse for failing the Lord. So it says, confession requires an attitude of sorrow for the sin and a willingness to turn from it. Does not mean we will never commit the same sin again, because we are fleshly and we mess up. But it does mean that the attitude of repentance in sin is present. Confession should be made at the moment the Christian becomes aware of sin. Apart from this rule, moreover, the Scripture mentions 2 specific times for confession: before the close of the day and before the Lord's Supper is observed. Failure to do so in the latter is a special cause for discipline from the Lord. Confession of sin should involve only those who have knowledge of the sin. This means that private sins should be confessed privately, sins between individuals confessed between those involved, and public sins confessed publicly. Ooh, that's a tough one. Public confession is normally made for the edification of the church. So yeah, great stuff there. So if we have to look at who all that sin affects. You know, we don't want to make a confession that's going to public confession that's going to hurt somebody else. You know, that may be the type of confession we want to make between ourselves and you know, a good close friend that we feel safe talking to about that sin, or maybe our pastor. But anyway, I just think that's a great passage and a good one for me to hear, because, you know, I'm human and I screw up, and you know, that's how we grow spiritually is when we have that sin, we confess it, and we acknowledge it, and we want to focus on it at the time of confession, and understand that we are hurting the one who loves us and gives us salvation, and there should be a heaviness in our heart when that happens. So anyway, that is the message for today. I hope you like that. Let's have a quick word of prayer and we'll be out of here. Father, we thank you for your mercy and for your forgiveness. And Lord, we fail you daily because we are fleshly creatures. And we just ask that when we do fail you, that you would touch our hearts and soften them, and help us to be aware of our failures, or repentance of our failures, and sorry for our failures, and ready to confess those and to proceed forward with every intention, and trying to do better and not commit that same sin. And we ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, hit like, hit subscribe. Thanks for following along. Go Cardinals today. I will be there if we don't get rained out. Hopefully we bring home a winner, and we'll talk to you on the next one.